afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this special edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday afternoon from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over the airways of Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. The number to call, as always, is 888 Mad Dog 6. That's 888-623-3646. Now, if y'all know anything about me and my radio show, I don't like starting it with anyone. Okay, I know when I open the show, it's my time. There are only special exceptions that come into play, and definitely today qualifies right here. Since I'm right here in Florham Park, New Jersey. I'm with the head coach for the New York Jets, the one and only Coach Todd Bowles is right next to me. What's going on, man? How are you,
Steve,
sir?
How you doing, man?
It's good to see you, man. How's everything? How's the off season been?
Off season's been hectic, but now it's great.
I got you. Listen, let's get right into this. When we think about last time we saw the Jets on the football field, it was a must-win situation. You had a playoff berth on the line, and you guys came up short 22-17. First of all, what happened in that particular game? And secondly, how has this offseason been because of that moment?
I mean, we played hard. We played a hell of a ball game. We played a hell of a football team, and they were better than us on that day. They made the right plays. We didn't make the right plays. We got to get better at situational football, especially closing out the fourth quarters, and we didn't get it done. When
a coach says we have to get better with situational football, explain for my listeners exactly what that means and how do you overcome that?
Just as far as understanding clock management, that's got to be players and coaches alike. It's not just the players, it's on the coaches too. We got to understand making sure everybody, there might be 6, 7, 8 guys that's situationally aware, and then 2 guys might have a mental error and it might blow the whole play. So we got to make sure we understand situational football and everybody's communicating so we're on the same page.
Todd Bowles, head coach for the New York Jets, right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. When we think about the New York Jets, I think about Matt Forte being here now. I think about Muhammad Wilkinson being retained. I think about Sheldon Richardson. He's going to be ready to go at the start of the season. I'm thinking about Len Williams, you guys drafted in the first round last year. How are you feeling about this defense? Let's compartmentalize and go offense, defense. Talk to me about your defense first. How are you feeling about this defense right now?
I think we got younger. I think we lost a lot of players that played a bunch of ball games that had a lot of respect in here and in the league. And Cromartie, Pace, Snacks, DeMario. We lost a lot of guys. So the young guys coming in, we got to get up to speed real fast. From a talent standpoint, I feel fine. But from a mental standpoint, we're going to have to get better in a hurry before the first game.
How did you feel about your ability to get at the quarterback last year?
I thought we got there some. We can get there some more in the 4-man rush. I think we didn't get there as much as we wanted to in the 4-down rush. It's easy to get there versus the blitz, but we can get better using our hands in the 4-down rush.
I expected you to say that because knowing what your expectations were coming from Arizona, some people expected even more from you guys in terms of getting to the quarterback because Todd Bowles, that's what he does. He gets to the quarterback somehow, some way. Any reason why it didn't happen as much to your liking as you had initially anticipated?
I don't think we blitzed as much as I did in Arizona. First off, we had guys still learning the system. We had different kind of players doing certain things, so we didn't get as complex as normally we get into. But we just got to get to the quarterback. I thought fundamentally we got to use our hands. I didn't think the DBs, backers, or D-line used them going forward. And they had trouble understanding whether we were on the same page or not, but we cleaned a bunch of that up this spring.
Antonio Cromartie is no longer in your secondary. He's not here. Buster Screen was in the slot. He's going to the outside right now. Talk to me about your concerns, if any, that you may have as it pertains to that moving forward.
I don't have any concerns. Buster started in the league at corner before he became a nickel. He'll still go inside some, and you got Marcus and D that's played some reps out there, and they both know how to play corner.
D. Milner, because everybody don't remember him. Everybody don't remember him, Coach.
D. Milner, okay. He's healthy.
Right.
He's having a good camp so far. He's running around, and it's just good to see him, and I like to see him playing some games.
So much speculation about whether or not Darrelle Revis has actually lost a step. People look at him. We consider him one of the elite corners in the game. He's still considered that to some degree. But, Revis Island, that wasn't an accident. Many people were on Revis Island because, he shut you down. But obviously there are people that have questions about him right now. Do you have any questions about Darrelle Revis?
I have no questions whatsoever. He was an elite corner for us last year. He got beat a couple times here and there, but it wasn't as far as few as many, it wasn't as many as anybody would think he got beat, and he's still an elite corner. If you go at him enough, you're going to get him once or twice. So he got once or twice, but he's still the best on our team, and he's still one of the best in the league.
What makes him so great? Darrell Revis.
I think his attention to detail of the game. You know, he studies quite a bit. He studies film and he understands splits, which a lot of corners do, but he studies things that people can't see. He has an old school feel for the game. When he came into the league out of college, he had a heck of a college coach because they taught him a lot. He understands sideline technique. He understands when they're inside the hash marks. He understands a bunch of those things, and he's very patient when he's pressing, so that makes him a great corner.
Todd Bowles, head coach for the Jets, right here with Stephen A. Let's transition to the offense. We'd be negligent if we didn't bring up Ryan Fitzpatrick. It made a lot of Jets fans nervous for a few months because couldn't seem to reach an accord with him. Talk to me about what that whole process was like for you and for this organization.
You know, in the spring, you thought it would get done. Then as the spring left and the summer came, you know, there was a chance we might have to go without him. So you have to start preparing yourself that way as a coach. And Geno got a lot of reps in there, so it's okay to have two quarterbacks ready to play. So if one goes down, the other one can create chemistry with the team. So I think it was more or less, will it get done or won't it get done? Either way, we were ready to move on. It's just a matter of which one it was going to be. So we were getting guys ready to play, and we were getting mentally prepared to play without them. I'm happy we got them, but we were getting mentally prepared to play without them.
When I saw quotes from Todd Bowles in the papers, it seemed very, very pragmatic, like, look, next man up. If you ain't here, the next man's going to get it done. But there was something inside of me that says, I don't believe him. I believe he believes. There's no way on earth that this guy, Ryan Fitzpatrick, is going to leave this situation because it's too good for him. At age 33, he has never been in a situation this good. He will come to his senses, and he will ultimately be here. Was it the former where you were ready to move on, or was it the latter where you believed in your heart, damn it, he's going to be here. I know he's not going to be stupid enough to leave.
It was kind of in the middle. You know, I was ready to move on, but because we weren't playing any games, you would hope that he came back and you had time. But if he got hurt when he came in, we would still have to move on without him. So I was trying to take that approach.
Right. Now, we know that in the game of football, anybody can get hurt, Coach. And that means Ryan Fitzpatrick, especially because the quarterback's going to get hit. We all know this. Is Geno Smith ready to fill in? Is Geno Smith ready to be that guy that you can rely upon if necessary to go in there and at least manage a game and not make pivotal mistakes?
Yes, I think he can do that. I mean, I hadn't seen him play in the games. Obviously, he got hurt when I got here last year, but he had a good spring, and obviously getting in games and getting reps will prove that to be so. Mm-hmm. But I think he's chomping at the bit to do that if we came to that situation.
Why is Matt Forte here?
He's a good running back. He has versatility for us. We still think he can get 1,000 yards for us passing, receiving the ball. He can get 1,000 yards for us rushing the football. He's an added addition to what we need. Having Decker and Marshall, we need a third and fourth option. We didn't have as many people catch as many balls as we wanted to via tight end or the third receiver or the running back position, and Forte was all-purpose, along with Bilal Powell, and hopefully Kyrie gets healthy. We got a good 1-2 punch still and losing Ivory, and plus we got another receiver in the fold.
I was thinking about that with Bilal Powell and Matt Forte. They're both exceptional at catching passes out of the backfield, so I was thinking along the lines that if you emphasize that you wanted a pass-catching back, then there's either some question marks for you at the receiver spot or a question mark for you at the tight end spot because Jason Morrow was out last year, and obviously he's coming back this year from the shoulder injury. How are you feeling about overall your passing game based on what you have?
From a people standpoint, we having everybody back. I feel good about it. Obviously, it's early in camp, and the chemistry has to click, and Fitz has to get in better shape, and we have to get everybody involved and see who competes once preseason games start, but I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Todd Bowles, head coach of the Jets, right here with Stephen A., Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. When you talk about the Jets, one of the things that comes to everybody's mind is no playoff appearances since 2010. You just got here last year, so most of those years don't have anything to do with you. But when you're here, 2010, and Jet fans remind you that that's the last time they've been in the playoffs, how do you feel?
Well, I'm just going by last year, and I'm still pissed off we didn't get in then. But, we had our chances, and we didn't get it done. We got to get better this year. Obviously, every year, everybody tries to strive for the playoffs. But it's a process for us. We understand where we're going. We're not trying to rebuild. We're just trying to reload, and hopefully from the experience that we all spent together last year, it'll help us this year.
Give me some insight. Give my listeners some insight of what it's like for a coach at that particular moment. You lose the game to Buffalo. You're done for the season. Do you not say anything other than, look, we put in the hard work, we didn't get it done, but we had an excellent season, come back and work hard, and then wait until training camp or OTAs or whatever to get on guys and remind them how you came up short? Or do you go in the locker room immediately after the game and your season's over and you have that attitude and you express yourself then? What is that like for a coach? What kind of communication takes place during that time?
You go in and you express the disappointment of losing, and you kind of let them go on their way until you see the film and see what happened, and you don't throw it at them all at once. When you get the OTAs, training camp, and the season, you kind of come up with certain situations that will remind you why you lost and why you didn't get in the playoffs, and you bring it up then. But we let them have it sometimes, and sometimes we take a different approach, a philosophical approach. But nevertheless, it's the same result. We got to get better than last year.
A lot of people are transitioning because when we think about you, obviously you're doing a damn good job. It's only going to get better. A lot of people felt like you deserved this job. You definitely proved it in your first year. I bring all of that up because we see a lot of things going on in the NFL these days. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was something about the Rooney Rule. Folks was talking about that. I just want to know your thoughts about how do you feel about the NFL, how it's progressed as it pertains to African-American coaches getting opportunities in the sport itself. Do you think things are moving in the right direction? What are your thoughts about all of that?
Well, when they first brought it in, I thought everything was moving in the right direction, and it gets people in front of people. But now, if I own the team, you kind of know what you want and who you're going to hire. So to some degree, you just put guys in front of people, and it's just a token interview. And then others, it's a real interview, but you don't know unless you go.
Right.
I can't tell an owner who to hire or a general manager who to hire, but there are plenty of quality coaches of all color, black and white. It seems like the ones we've known that's passed by since I've been in the league, like the Ted Cottrells and the Emmett Thomases and all those kind of guys have came and gone, and they were great coaches. And there's a bunch of other ethnic coaches, whether they're Spanish, whether they're Caucasian, or whether they're anything, that are great guys that don't get a shot. There's only 32 jobs.
Yeah.
So, there's a ton of coaches and there's 32 jobs, and it's a matter of preference, putting in your work, and, if somebody's deemed worthy of giving you a chance, you go for the interview. But from a Rooney standpoint, yeah, there are some that get left out. Now, I've done many interviews in my early days where I thought I didn't have a shot early on, but going in to get the experience, I came in to get the experience, but you don't know. It's hard to get a person to invest $1 billion organization in you when you only have 4 hours.
That's right.
You ain't going to trust too many people. Regardless of color, you're not going to trust too many people, but there's some great African-American coaches out there. There really are, and we just got to keep striving to give them a shot when we get a chance. But the idea is to hire the best coach, not what color coach. So
without question.
That's the biggest thing I try to do.
Coach Bowles, before I let you get on out of here, on a different note, whether it was Russell Wilson speaking about something, whether it was Michael Bennett speaking about Cam Newton, whether it's all the stuff that's been in the news over the last few weeks or so, one of the things that I've noticed is that athletes right now appear to be interested in speaking about a lot of different issues, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's the police brutality, whether it's all of this other stuff. As an NFL coach, knowing that it's the NFL brand, knowing that the Jets are the priority, when winning football is a priority, you might have a lot of guys in there, social media, tweeting and doing all types of stuff or what have you. You never ever know. How does a coach deal with that challenge in this day and age? Young minds, incredibly athletic, very accomplished, a lot of ability, but also conscientious to some respect, got a lot on their mind, got a lot of things that they want to say, but it might not be wise for them to say certain things at certain times or to speak too much on these issues. How does a coach handle that challenge in 2016?
It's a fine line. For me, I have 3 boys, and I treat the players just as I would my boys from an advice standpoint. There's a lot going on, and I worry about my kids going to college and driving home late at night getting pulled over. At the same time, I worry about him if he becomes a police officer walking up to a routine stop and him getting shot. So I worry about my boys from that standpoint, and It's hard. It's hard because the police protect us 24/7 around the clock, and they do all those good things for us, and they provide security, and they do everything. It's a shame that a few rogue guys take advantage of certain situations because they have the badge, but that doesn't speak for the force.
That's right.
No different than it speaks for the people in the neighborhood. Because you're wearing a bandana around your head walking down the street, you're not allowed to get shot either. And to me, it's tough, man. It's tough. You don't want your kids, regardless, to die before you do. Whether they're police officers or whether they're just regular civilians, you don't want them dying before you do. And, you know, these people getting shot with assault rifles and everything like that, you just can't buy them from the store.
That's right.
So that's hard. And until the lawmakers change some things, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because as a police officer, now you're guarded. When you make a routine traffic stop, do you walk up to the car? Are you getting blown away?
Yeah.
And then if you're in the car and a police officer comes, are you getting blown away? So it's divided right now, and we have to come to some type of solution. I don't know whether it's strict the laws or whatever the case may be, but talking about it is one thing, but until some of the laws change, we're going to have it rough for a little while.
Yeah. Coach, all the best to you, man. Congratulations on last season. You still went 10-6. I'm wishing you nothing but the best this year. I think y'all going to make the playoffs. I hope I'm right.
I'm going to try to make you right.
Tom Bowles with the New York Jets right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Back with your phone calls and more in a minute. Live from Florham Park, New Jersey, home of the New York Jets training camp. More with Stephen A. in a minute.
Touchdown Green Bay. It's 20-0 on a 99-yard pass from Brett Favre.
3 MVPs and a Super Bowl championship. Now, just days before he's enshrined in Canton, Brett Favre will discuss his NFL journey with one of the men who helped transform him into a Hall of Famer, Coach Steve Mariucci. It's the Sirius XM Town Hall with Brett Favre, premiering Friday at 6 Eastern on NFL Radio Channel 88.
Are you still getting oil changes every 3,000 miles? With a BG Extended Life Oil Service, newer cars can go more than 3 times as far between oil changes without the risk of damaging the engine, which means peace of mind. And speaking of peace of mind, a BG Extended Life Oil Service every 10,000 miles includes up to $6,000 in lifetime engine and fuel system coverage at no extra charge. Find a shop that performs the BG Extended Life Oil Service at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com.
When work takes you on the go, you need a laptop that can keep up. Dell's XPS 13 empowers small business owners to collaborate anywhere with incredible battery life and performance that's 4 times faster when you refresh to new Dell PCs featuring Intel Core processors. Learn more at Dell.com/radio. That's Dell.com/radio.
This is Matt Lauer. We're live from the Plaza at Rockefeller Center on Sirius XM.
Today Show Radio.
With Hollywood's biggest stars like Robert Redford and Reese Witherspoon. Record-breaking music acts like Adele.
So beautiful. It's so nice.
Breaking the biggest stories in entertainment news. Charlie Sheen.
I was making bad decisions.
And exclusive town halls with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
NBC Nightly News. The Hoda Show with Hoda Kotb. And The Today Show. Today Show Radio. Sirius XM Channel 108.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you to keep bacteria in food from making you ill with 4 simple steps.
This will be a walk in the park.
Clean. Wash hands and surfaces often.
I'm waiting for the ring cycle.
Separate. Keep raw meats away from ready-to-eat foods.
Yep.
Cook. Make sure meat, poultry, and seafood is cooked to the right temperature.
Fire in the hole!
And chill. Refrigerate food promptly.
Bingo!
Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
It's Dan Grassa. Join me on Mad Dog Sports Radio tonight. Every weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk sports, take calls, and have plenty of laughs. Only on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
You're listening to The Stephen A. Smith Show.
21 minutes past hour number 1 back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Thanks again to Todd Bowles, head coach for the New York Jets, for coming on the show with us. Herm Edwards, former coach for the New York Jets, will be on in a little while. And Muhammad Wilkinson, Wilkerson. I apologize. Muhammad Wilkerson just got an $86 million contract extension. He'll be on the show with us as well. So definitely looking forward to talking to him about those things. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. This 888-623-3646. As an aside, if y'all were wondering why I asked Coach Bowles that last question, not the last question in terms of guys with social media and beyond, but basically the question about the Rooney Rule, is because while I was on vacation, there was a big to-do about the Rooney Rule and its impact in the National Football League, because minority coaching hires in the National Football League are at lows not seen in 20 years. And the Rooney Rule would look like a total failure if not for the coaching tree of Tony Dungy, according to reports. Listen to these numbers. Teams have taken a chance on 21 first-time white head coaches and only one first-time minority head coach, which is Todd Bowles, who I just spoke to, over the past 5 hiring cycles, 2012 to 2016. The gap was an identical 21-1 nearly 2 decades ago when the New York Jets made Herm Edwards the only first-time minority hire from 1997 to 2001. Understand what we mean by first time. That means that you've never been a head coach in your career, and they've taken a chance on you. So essentially in the last 20 years, they've taken a chance for the first time, as a first-time hire, on 2 black coaches, but 42 white coaches. Do y'all see the difference? Do y'all understand? For those out there that will sit up there and be like, oh, God, Stephen A., why does Stephen A. have to bring this up? I mean, come on. I mean, why does he have to bring this up? I mean, it's just unnecessary. I mean, why? That's why. 42 first-time white head coaches to 2 first-time black coaches in the last 20 years. Oh, by the way, there's more. 80 of the NFL's current 85 offensive coordinators, quarterback coaches, and offensive quality control coaches are white, including all 37 with the word quarterback in their titles. 23 of 32 defensive coordinators are white. Tony Dungy and his former assistants, did y'all know they accounted for 43% of minority head coaching hires over the past 2 decades? Tony Dungy. So in other words, this is Tony Dungy. In other words, we like Tony Dungy. So a couple of guys that he might recommend, we've got the vote, we've got the support of Tony Dungy, and they make up 43% of minority head coaching hires over the past 20 years. So in other words, if Tony Dungy doesn't bless you, you're a black man that might not get a job in the NFL. That's what it's saying. I have more. Tony Dungy. How about this quote? The good thing about the Rooney Rule was not that you had to interview a minority candidate, but that it slowed the process down and made you do some research. This is according to Tony Dungy. But now it seems like in the last few years, people haven't really done what the rule was designed for. It has become, just let me talk to a couple minority coaches very quickly so I can go about the business of hiring the person I really want to hire anyway. That's from Tony Dungy. That's from Tony Dungy. Another prominent minority head coach. A prominent minority coach, not a head coach, but a coach. For most of the black guys, they give you raises and not promotions. They put money in your pocket to keep you right there to handle that position group. You usually will take it because you have nowhere to go. Ladies and gentlemen, I can relate to that. Matter of fact, I can tell you right now, most minorities can. Put money in your pocket, but not title. And as a result, You have no choice but to accept it because you don't have anywhere else to go where you can get the position. So you might as well get more money. Most minorities can relate to the position where they tell you, look, take the money, shut the hell up. Be happy you got this. I would know. Trust me when I tell you. I would know. 888 Mad Dog 6. That's 888-623-3646. It's just a damn shame. It really, really is. It's just hard to put into words. Nuno, who do I have on the line? Mark in Long Beach, you're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up? Mark, I can't hear you, Mark. Speak up.
This is Stephen A. Smith show.
You are talking to the one and only. What's up?
Stephen A. Smith, man, I've been listening to you for years. They never could get through, but I just want to hear you say it one more time. That's why. Boy, that's why, man. I'm telling you, I hear that all the time. I mean, they're wondering why you bring these topics up because the topics are necessary. You always bring up necessary topics. And that Rooney Rule, man, it's gone out the window. But, yeah, I just wanted to call and say that I'm proud of you, my brother, and keep doing what you're doing. I'll listen to you off there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate that. I appreciate that love. Thank you so much. Who else do we have, Nuno? John in California, you're live with Stephen A. Amanda. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, man?
I'm good. Talk to me, my man.
Hey, man, I heard you up in there this morning with the Jets head coach, man. And, you know, when he was talking about how nothing is going to go down and happen until some of these laws change about, you know, the violence and
what you mean you heard me with the coach this morning? You mean just 10 minutes ago?
Yeah,
he was just on live.
Yeah, man,
just on live. Yeah, go ahead.
Dog, I listen to you every day. I'm sitting in the car right now listening to you, man. And I had to call. I finally got through. But it's like, nothing is gonna change, man. They see what's going on every day. They know that these police can gun down these unarmed black motorists, man, and they will not be held accountable. The police know they will not be held accountable. That's why they do these things, man.
Well, let's be clear. Let's be clear, John. Let's be clear about something. Coach Bowles specifically said, just like you can't classify every black individual that you see and assume the worst, you can't do that with police officers either. Most police officers
you can't.
are law-abiding. They help protect and serve. It's a few that go rogue, and those are the ones that need to be dealt with. So that's what it comes down to.
The ones that actually need to be dealt with, they are never dealt with, man. The laws don't apply to them, brother, is what I'm trying to get you to understand. It just not apply. That code of blue, that silence code or whatever these police have, it actually does exist, man. And these black officers, they sit there and they see it happening, brother, and they refuse to open their mouth because they scared.
Well, I will say this to you. I will say this to you. We know. That's why all of us are talking about it. But that's why we're talking about it. That's why you got a nation of people bringing rapt attention to it, because we're not joking. We're taking this very, very seriously, because you're absolutely right. Because the fact of the matter is that you got that cold blue, that cold. You know, listen, they're gonna protect one another. They're gonna support one another. We understand that. But but a lot of them, most are law abiding, and they're protecting and serving. And we gotta hope that we incite them to call out the few amongst them who are rogue. And we have to continue with that fight.
In a perfect world, brother. In a perfect world,
ain't nothing perfect.
That would be wonderful.
Ain't nothing perfect, bro. Ain't nothing perfect.
I know, but let me tell you something. In a perfect world, that would be wonderful. But we don't live in a perfect world.
You know what, John? You know how I look at it? You know how I look at it, John? I look at it this way: as perfect as God is, He created the devil.
True that.
You see what I'm saying? So if the devil's existing, it's always going to be something. There's always going to be some kind of problem. Ain't no way around that, bro. I appreciate the call, though. Thank you so much, and keep in touch. Feel free to call back anytime. Durand in Indianapolis, you're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up, bro? Talk to me.
Hey, How you doing, Stephen A?
I'm great. Thank you for calling. What's up?
Tell them don't cut me off too soon. These athletes that get in trouble. I'm 37. I'm a black man. I don't drink. I don't smoke weed. I don't do any of that stuff. So I don't understand why these athletes, especially NFL players, can go out there and, smoke and drink and party and then get in trouble, and then you risking your family, you risking your lifestyle. They don't, they could be cut just like that after they guarantee money. They could just tell them, see you later. I don't understand.
I'll answer it for you.
How hard is it?
I'll answer it for you. First of all, is stupidity, number one.
Mm-hmm.
But number two, and more importantly, it's stupidity when you're younger and addictive when you're older. See, if you start something young, right, and you grow an affinity for it, it's hard to let it go. Like, for example, my addiction is sugar. If I didn't eat so much damn sugar when I was younger, I wouldn't be an addict for it now. But it's the last thing on my docket that I'm trying to shave off of my life because it's not good for me, but I can't help it. It's my crack.
But I can go out and not have people. My friends be drinking. I'm like, no, I'm good. How come those NFL players? No, I'm good. They, you have to look out for yourself, and if they peer pressure you, walk away from it. Why would you risk suspensions and losing your money?
Because it's stupid. It's stupid, and we can't be patient with it. We got to call them out because they're jeopardizing all the work that they themselves put in to make this happen. And so you're absolutely right about it, and there's no excuse for it. I got to run on out of here, man. I appreciate the call. Feel free to call back anytime. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. More of the Stephen A. Smith Show on Sirius XM in a minute. Don't touch that dial. Holla at your boy.
Mad Dog Sports Radio. Sports Bite.
The first stop on the SiriusXM College Sports Nation football training camp tour is ongoing on Channel 84 with a visit to Louisville Cardinals camp. Head coach Bobby Petrino stopped by and talked about how excited he is about the offense under new offensive coordinator Lonnie Galloway.
We've got a great group of running backs coming back. I really like what Lonnie's added to the offense. He's gives some new schemes, but also the toughness at the wide receiver position. He's a guy that's very enthusiastic, high energy. Takes a lot of pressure off of me and done a great job with just coming in and being a leader of the group.
The College Sports Nation Camp Tour will also visit the Clemson Tigers today at 5 o'clock Eastern. From the NFL, Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. is reportedly doing his work on a side field today as he continues to recover from banging up his leg during a collision at practice on Sunday. The SiriusXM NFL Radio Training Camp Tour continues today with a pair of stops. At 3 o'clock Eastern, they'll be with the Cowboys. That'll be followed at 6 o'clock Eastern with the Buffalo Bills. You can hear both on Channel 88. From baseball, the Dodgers informed struggling outfielder Yasiel Puig he's being demoted to AAA. LA acquired outfielder Josh Reddick along with pitcher Rich Hill from the A's yesterday. Oakland manager Bob Melvin joined SiriusXM MLB Network Radio and talked about the trade of two key members of his roster.
I followed up and talked to him, and that's kind of how the way things go here. So my conversations after trades are more follow-ups, and certainly I had a long history with Josh Reddick, so that was a really difficult one for us, and Rich was having a great year for us.
As far as the Dodgers go, they'll be in Colorado to take on the Rockies tonight. LA starts the day 2 games behind the Giants in the National League West standings. San Francisco will begin a 9-game East Coast trip with the first of 3 games in Philadelphia. I'm Rob Brender.
You're on Mad Dog Sports Radio, and this is the Stephen A. Smith Show.
Pressing on. It's one of my favorite songs from Biggie, Notorious B.I.G. 36 minutes past hour number 1 back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let's get back to the phones at 888 Mad Dog 6. That's 888-623-3646. Dwayne in Chicago, a police officer.
Hey. Yeah, hey, how you doing, Steve?
Man, first of all, how are you doing?
Hey, Hey, I'm blessed. That's all I can tell you.
My brother, I just want to make sure that you are safe out there. A police officer in the streets of Chicago with all the stuff we've been hearing about Chicago. God bless you and all your loved ones, my man. How are you? How can I help you?
Yeah, I'm calling in response to the previous caller that was talking about the black officers who don't report the discrepancies with white officers.
Yes,
and
sir.
I just want to say this guy is totally misinformed about this.
Okay.
I've been a police officer for 18 and a half years. I was involved in a shooting in 2004 where a young man put a gun up to my head. I think I survived that. And there are things that go on. And I'm not making an excuse for any of the atrocities that are going on by these police officers. Let me say that right now. There's no excuse for it. I don't condone it. And when I see it, I report it. And I'm not the only officer that does it. There are other officers. Because, first of all, I'm a man of God. I'm a Christian first. And I have been called to a higher calling. And I know one day I'll stand before the Lord and have to give an account of my life and what I saw and what I didn't do. So with that being said, there's also, we have what they call general orders within the police department. There are rules and guidelines that should be followed, and I say should. And people use these rules to circumvent the system. They use them to their favor. Use them to their favor within the department to exact punishment. But then they'll turn around and use it in their favor to get officers off. And this is not something that I'm telling you that I've heard. This is something that I've seen.
But officer, with all due respect, I don't think he was talking about every single officer. I think he's just saying that, in cases like this, these are the kind of things that happen, and that's something that can't be ignored. I'm quite sure there are exceptions to every rule. I'm quite sure that there are a lot of officers like yourself that would not sit idly by and watch rogue officers engage in rogue behavior, particularly against young black men, and do nothing about it. I'm quite sure that everybody recognizes that there's plenty of officers who will call somebody out on that if they witnessed it or knew of its existence.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the thing is, I work in one of the roughest parts of Chicago. It's on 71st and Cottage. That's where you hear about a bulk of the shootings at. Mm-hmm. And then there's the west side. I also worked over there. And, you want to have, and you do have, your brother's back. But when you have to draw a line with certain things. Okay. Now, when we come into certain situations where, whether it be domestic disturbances or even an incident involving a shooting, my thing is, hey, once an offender is in custody, that's game. He's in cuffs, whatever he's done. He's a human being first. I don't care what he's done. The word says we've all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So my thing is, if we look at everybody with that same scope, now everybody will, I understand that, because everybody don't believe and everybody has their own way of believing things. But this is the way I view things. But if officers would just take this approach, and Stephen, I just want to say one thing real quick before I know you got to go.
Yeah.
When we come onto the job, we take a psychological exam. We are required to take it. But there's no other exam given after that. So now, you take this. You take a veteran coming home, which I am as that as well. You take a veteran coming home, suffering from PTSD. He's allowed to get treatment. You have officers that see traumatic things every day. You have officers who serve in combat, like myself, who have come home from witnessing certain things. They're suffering from PTSD from combat. Now you're on the streets. You're starting to see things that don't make sense. You compile that all together with the regular cases of life. You got guys going through financial difficulties, divorce. And so now we never take another psychological exam. So why aren't these officers, why aren't we given another psychological exam? You have walking time bombs out here.
Officer, I got to interject because I got to get some more callers, but I appreciate
I'm sorry, Steve, go ahead.
I get exactly what you're saying. Feel free to call back anytime, and thank you so much for calling. You take care of yourself.
You got it.
Good points. It's making good points. I can't argue with those. It's absolutely right. Let's go to Dre in North Carolina. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up, Dre? How are you?
How you doing, Stephen A?
What's going on?
I just want to touch on that subject you was talking about with quarterbacks or head coaches and positions and stuff like that.
Yep.
My whole view on it is basically, I see it as this. You only get to a certain position if you put yourself out there. If you sit there and you want to get there, you can get there. And if you look at, you said something about there's a whole bunch of white head coaches that were quarterbacks. predominantly all of the quarterbacks were white at one time. Now you're starting to see African-American quarterbacks. Might change that situation, and you might see more African-American head coaches out there in the future. But at one time, it was all white quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's right. And it's changing. And it's improving. And there's no question about it. But at the same time, with coaches, listen, that there's a huge discrepancy when you talk about first-time opportunities, and 42-2 is the discrepancy. That's a problem. And there's no way around it, and we can't gloss over that.
I understand.
All right, man. Thank you so much for the call.
Can I touch on one more thing real quick?
Yes, go ahead.
That last caller, that officer, saying about more programs and stuff for officers, I went recently to a program called Landmark, and Landmark is free for any police officer in the United States and any teacher in any school district. As long as you have your credentials, you sign up to the program, and it's free completely. And it's a self-improvement kind of workshop that helps you get through certain things so that you can actually help other people to become better out there.
Got you. I appreciate the call, Dre. Thank you so much. Randy in Indianapolis, you're live with Stephen A. What's up, Randy?
Yeah, Stephen A., man, you're an eloquent and intelligent brother, and I'm glad I finally got through to you. I just got two little things to say. One about, I think the policemen need to be having these PEDs, the steroids. I think they need to be tested for that. And also the psychological thing they was talking about. And the other thing I have to say is about the athletes. They work so hard to get where they're at, and then in one instant they can blow their whole career. I just don't understand. But anyway, I just want to let you know,
the first person in the world that I ever heard. Hold on. You're the first person in the world that I ever heard say that police officers should be tested for PEDs. Why would you say that?
Because I think some of them, man, are just like Herculean. It's just like you just don't get that way from just every day. I mean, I just think that it messes with their mind and their brain, and sometimes they just get. I just get crazy.
Got you. I understand. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Carlton in Massachusetts. I know I'd hear from you. You're live with Stephen A. and Mad Dog. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm okay. How you doing down there in New Jersey?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to talk to you.
Kellerman needs to be examined with his trashing of Ryan Fitzpatrick today.
I knew I was going to hear from you about that. I knew it.
Thank God Brandon Marshall was there to counter some of his nonsense. But when he talks about, Fitz being in a contract this year and he only plays well in a contract year, do you know the guy was drafted 250th, fourth from the bottom, from a 1AA school, the only seventh-rounder that's a starting quarterback in the NFL right now, and the guy has gotten paid one time in his career in a year did he ever collect more than $10 million. That was in 2011 with the Bills. He's been in a contract year every single year in his career, in that he could be cut at any moment. So there's nonsense about he only plays well when he's under pressure. It's ridiculous. The guy also is the most underpaid quarterback in the NFL. He collected a total of $7 million the past 2 years for 48 touchdowns and 23 interceptions. He was the primary reason the 2-14 Texans went to 9-7, and the 4-12 Jets went to 10-6 last year. And he has better numbers in the last 4 years than Andrew Luck does, even though he's played in 4 different offensive systems. And finally, the absolute utter nonsense of him losing the Buffalo game last year, which gets repeated over and over and over again. Ask Kellerman if he knows that the Bills had possession in that game over 39 minutes. Ask Kellerman if he knows that the Bills converted 11 out of 22 third and fourth downs in that game. They couldn't get the Bills off the field last year. And 2 out of his 3 interceptions were one was in the last 2 minutes and one was with 12 seconds left. Both desperation throws. The one with 2 minutes left was third down and long, and they had 3 timeouts, so they would have punted had he not thrown the interception. And he was pancaked on that one because DeBrickashaw Ferguson completely whiffed on his block. And the ball came up 20 yards short. So this nonsense I hear repeated over and over and over again, that he blew the game because of 3 interceptions. Nobody even mentions the fact that they had the ball for 20 minutes.
You're right about that, because I didn't even mention that. But I know he didn't blow the game. It just wasn't his greatest game, but he didn't blow the game.
He didn't have a good game. I'll never argue that he had a good game. There was a 25-mile-an-hour straight-out wind in that game. I was at the game. The Jets' offense had the ball for 7 minutes out of the 30 minutes that they had to win, and he put up 17 points in 7 minutes and got them in position for another field goal that they missed, a 40-yard field goal that they missed. So in 7 minutes, he put them in position to have 20 points. And the defense couldn't get the guys off the field. Like I say, he didn't have a great game, but there's nonsense that he cost them the playoffs.
Well, this nonsense, this is nonsense that for some reason we have evidence to believe that Ryan Tannehill is better than him. I'm like, where's that?
You know why I think they gang up on him? Again, he's a 1AA school. He's from Harvard. The people don't like that. So I don't know. There's a group in New York that just regularly, think that he's a bum. And, for you got him 10-6. Actually, he was 10-5. He left the game 0-0.
Well, Carlton, you have to admit this. He got to show up this year. After the year he had last year, you can't show up this year and wet the bed. You got to show, because you're 33 years of age. You've been a relative journeyman. It's not entirely your fault, but in the end, what it comes down to is this: Ryan Fitzpatrick's got to show up, and he at least has to duplicate his performance from last season. You've got Brandon Marshall, you've got Eric Decker, you've got Bilal Powell and Matt Forte that can operate out of the backfield. You've got a decent offensive line if Clady stays healthy. You've got Jason Morrow back from his shoulder injury that caused him to miss the season last year. You have enough weapons as a quarterback to spearhead this team into playoff contention. I mean, you could go 10-6, 11-5, and still possibly not make the playoffs, because you could lose the division in New England, and then 3 teams in the AFC North could all go to the playoffs in Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Baltimore, because one team's got to come from the South and one team's got to come from the West. We know that. But you should be anything less than a 10-6 or 11-5 season from Ryan Fitzpatrick is unacceptable.
Most 10-6 teams make the playoffs. The Jets didn't last year. Only one 11-5 team has not made the playoffs in the history since they've gone to the current format.
And that's the Patriots in 2008.
You got it right. And here's my one worry, Stephen A. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick has more pressure on him than any other quarterback in the NFL this year, with half the New York fans, thinking he's a bum and he blew the season last year. I honestly think there's
I don't know if they think that. I don't think they think Ryan's a bum. I think we all know he can play. He's just not the elite quarterback that you talk about with Brady and Aaron Rodgers and others. But the reality is you can't come off the season that he had, then hold out for more money, wait until the 11th hour to sign a 1-year deal for $12 million, and then come and stink up the joint. You got to show up.
Well, I agree with that. But he got paid $3.25 million last year for turning that team around. It's not exactly like this guy's been cashing
I'm just saying he's got to do it now. All I'm saying is he got to do it again, Carlton. You can't let him overlook.
I agree.
All right. I appreciate the call, buddy.
Thank
you so much. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. This 888-623-3646. Herm Edwards will be on us at the top of the hour, but not before I get back to your phone calls in a minute. It's Stephen A. on Mad Dog.
If you missed the Morning Man with Evan and Babs on Tuesday, I think I'm having the worst day in the Babs.
Kind of bored. You're about to travel 17.
More than a sign. It's making minimum payments? You should know. The credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's
work for you and invest.
Easter. Mad Dog Sports Radio.
On Mad Dog Sports Radio.
$53 minutes past the hour. Number 1 back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Here with another note from Candlewood Suites Hotel. Guest Dana from room 406 wrote, "Hey guys, thanks for lending me the crock pot. I used it to make my favorite chili." Well, you're welcome, Dana. Make sure you bring some down next time. Even with a full kitchen, you're not expected to pack a blender, toaster oven, or, well, a crock pot. A crock pot. That's why Candlewood Suites is everything from small kitchen appliances to board games for you to borrow anytime. If you're ready for all the basics you'd expect, plus a genuine staff always willing to help, book your next stay with Candlewood Suites. Find out more at candlewoodssuites.com. Candlewood Suites. True, genuine people. Back to the phones we go at 888 Mad Dog 6. It's 888-623-3646. Let's go to Link in Houston. You're live with Stephen A. Mad Dog. What's up, Link?
Hey, Stephen A. How you doing? It's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
I have a question for the love doctor because I believe this be the most challenging complex situation you might have dealt with.
Oh, my goodness. Go ahead, man, because we only got 2.5 minutes. Give it to me, man.
Okay, Stephen A., this is the problem. I've cared for a child for 7 years. I've taken them on as my own, raising them as my own with my ex-girlfriend. However, someone that I've been with and been courting for a while now, she basically has taken exception to me having this child in my life because of the way his mother's treating me, being disrespectful, questioning me on certain things when I say I can't do certain things at a certain time. So she takes it that she would have confrontation with Cameron's mother behind defending my honor. And I was basically given an ultimatum by her to let the situation go if I want to pursue something with her seriously.
Okay.
So I made a promise to be in this child's life, and I feel like I'm a man of my word. It's what I want to stand on. But at the same time, I'm conflicted because I really feel the same way about it.
Well, you should be conflicted. You should be conflicted because an innocent child is involved, didn't ask to be here. You accepted that responsibility makes you an even greater man than normal men would, because normal men, not to say that that's anything bad, but a lot of people wouldn't take on that responsibility. So let's take that into consideration and appreciate and applaud you for being the man that you are. Here's the thing. You could sit up there and you could see addressing the child's mother and her disrespectful tendencies is one thing. But the woman that's in your life, how you feel about her, y'all don't have children, do you?
No. See,
you might have children. Hold on, listen to me, because we wind it down. Yeah. You want children together someday, don't you?
Yes, sir.
She would not want you to walk away from a child that you promised to be a father to. So ideally, even though it's not your child, you're not with that person any longer. But the flip side to it, if you're trying to build a relationship with her, at the same time, you want to make sure she understands that while you're respectful and you'll address the situation with the child's mom, you don't want to be the kind of man that would walk away from a promise to a child, because that's not who you are. And if she can't respect that, maybe you need to look at her just a touch harder. I got to get ready to go. But I want
the VR Spotlight with Nicole and Bucher on Sirius XM Bleacher Report Radio.
Charles Barkley, TNT.
Sports are the only job in the world.
Cherry.
Alfalfa leaf.
Entertainment. Join Maker Portable Satellite
every Sunday through Thursday.
Sirius XM Sports.
Right now.
Hour number 2. The Stephen A. Smith Show here with you until the top of the 3 o'clock hour when I pass it off to the namesake for the channel, Christopher Mad Dog Russo, right here on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Thanks again to head coach Todd Bowles for the New York Jets for coming on with us to start off hour number 1. In hour number 2, we're going to have Muhammad Wilkerson on with us, hopefully GM Mike McCagnon, and it is always my honor and privilege to have my next guest on the phone, but he's sitting right next to me. He's here at Jets Camp with me, former coach for the New York Jets, former coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, colleague at ESPN, my friend, my big brother.
My friend.
Coach Herm Edwards, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm well. It's always good to see you. And this is quite the facility.
Yes,
it is. First time I've been here.
This is the first time you've been. So it wasn't here when you were here.
Oh no,
you didn't have this, did you?
We were at Hofstra. We were okay.
It's a little bit different, right? A little bit different than Hofstra University, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit.
But it's a little bit different.
But we hung a banner.
That's right. No question about this. Let me ask you this, Coach. As you look at these New York Jets, as you see these facilities, as you reflect on the season that they had, what thoughts run through your mind about what they did wrong and what they need to do right in order to advance to the playoffs for this upcoming season?
Well, I think early in the season to get a new head coach, new system on offense and defense, I don't think they realized how good they were. At the end, when they made their run and won, 5 or 6 of their last games, they felt like, you know what, we're a pretty good football team. Now, going into the season, I think they feel that way. I was just speaking with Todd on the field, and he likes his football team. Mm-hmm. They're young, they're athletic. They've got a little bit of hunger in their belly, feeling like, last year, when you win 10 games, don't get in. Well, obviously, if you beat Buffalo, you're in, right? And I think the schedule, they look at this schedule they have, and it's daunting. It's very challenging. The first 6 games are actually 5 of them against playoff teams, and the 6th one is the Buffalo Bills that beat them twice. So looking at that schedule early, I think for this football team, if you're Todd, and I know Todd's probably told him, he says, look, if we're going to be a playoff team, we got to beat these teams, because these are the teams that eventually you have to go through if you're going to be in playoffs.
Coach, what threw me off about talking to Coach Todd Bowles and what he said to me on First Take and then again on radio, he said this team didn't realize how good it was. But when I spoke to speaking, and I'm going to speak to Muhammad Wilkerson, but when you speak to other players, they give you the impression we were too confident. I don't know which one it is, but what does it mean to you? Whether they were too confident or they didn't realize how good they were. Two different things, it seems. But what's missing from this team?
Well, doing the little things, and that always comes into the season. When you let a couple games slip away, you go, wait a minute. You play the Buffalo Bills twice. Good football team, solid football team. But lose twice, same score, 22-17.
Yep.
That can't happen if you're a playoff team. You might lose to them once, not twice, because you're a better team than the Buffalo Bills. And so those are the type of games that scratch your head. You go, what just happened? How do we do that? And so I think that's a learning lesson for them, because generally when you go 10-6, you're in. I mean, you're generally in. Didn't get in. So now they got to look at themselves and say, how can we get in? Offensively, I think there's a little bit of concern with the offensive line. Mm-hmm. At the tackle position.
Right.
Clady has been a guy that hasn't been healthy.
Okay. Mangold's 32. DeBrickashaw Ferguson is gone. Clady's supposed to be replacing, and we'll see how that works out.
And the right tackle has got a back problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so, look, season hasn't started yet, but that sits there and kind of looks at you and go, okay. In the secondary, visiting with Todd, he likes some of the young corners that he has. So he feels like the kid that came from San Diego, Marcus Williams, good ball skills, plays the ball. We know who Revis is. But it'll be interesting to see who those 4 or 5 guys are back there, because he likes to play with 5 or 6 guys in the back end.
Mm-hmm. Has Revis fallen off in your mind in any way?
He's probably not the same guy he was 3 years ago, but who is? But mind-wise, you can't take that away from him. He knows angles. He knows how to play. It'll be interesting, Stephen A., this year to watch how they use him. In other words, do they put him on the number 1, or do they put him on the number 2 and shut down the number 2 and double the number 1? Now you force the offense to throw to the 3. It'll be interesting. And I think each week, according to who the opponent is, and then knowing Todd, how he plays, he might devise a scheme like that and to make it work.
Herm Edwards right here with Stephen A., Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. You said they were better than Buffalo.
Yes.
I'm looking at the Buffalo with LaShawn McCoy and Carlos Williams. I'm looking at the Buffalo.
I'm talking about last year.
Got it. Because I'm looking at them now, and I'm wondering about the Buffalo Bills now. 54 sacks to just 21 last year. It's a 33 number of sacks drop-off from the previous season. Rex Ryan, to me, has to show up this year and get these guys over the hump, because defense is his signature. Tyrod Taylor and these boys seem to know what they'll do offensively. It's about Buffalo's defense, and then, of course, you've got Gase in Miami right now, and Tom Brady's missing 4 games. How do you see the AFC East panning out?
I still think Miami will be the cellar dweller. I think they'll be improved, but it's really between Buffalo and the Jets to contend with Miami. With New England.
Right.
I still think when you break it down, New England is going to be favored to win this division, regardless if Tom Brady misses 4 games.
Because?
You lose sight of New England, how good they are on defense. Because Brady gets talked about. Look, they've got 9 players that are first or second round picks on defense.
Right.
No one ever talks about that. They got a bunch of good players on defense. That defense only gave up 19 points a game last year. But we talk about so much about Tom Brady that it kind of gets, their defense, they're pretty good. And remember, when you look at this division, it's kind of ironic. I wrote it down. In the last 5 years, These are these numbers. These are staggering. Miami is 61 and New England is 61 and 19. The Jets are 36 and 44. Miami is 35 and 45, and the Bills are 35 and 45. Do you see the discrepancy? 61 and 19.
That wide. It's that wide. It's that wide.
Yeah.
And they're going to say it's because of Brady, but I'm looking at Bill Belichick, too, and I'm thinking that the first 4 games, Jimmy G, I got that from Molly Curve, but right. Jimmy Garoppolo, you got him playing 4 games. And then after that, a pretty ticked-off Tom Brady returns. I mean, I think we all should be scared of Tom Brady returning.
Well, yeah, he's going to have something to prove, and he always seems to have something to prove. I mean, he's getting into the backside of his career, and he understands that. And you think about their first 4 games, they play Arizona, which is tough. I don't think they beat Arizona in Arizona. But then they play Miami. Miami, I want to say, is 15 or 16 and 0 in New England. Then they play Houston. All of a sudden, Houston, is J.J. Watt healthy? He got a back problem.
That's right.
Okay, they got a young quarterback.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden, J.J. Watt in the mix. Oh, wait a minute. And then they play the Bills. So if they get 2-2 out of 4 games, Tom Brady comes back.
Hey, man, was right here with Stephen A. Mad Dog Sports Radio. You know the most interesting division in all of football to me?
Talk to me.
AFC North.
AFC
because of Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. I'm not thinking about Cleveland so much. I just don't think they have the talent. I think Hugh Jackson's going to do a good job eventually, but he's not going to have the talent to work with. But I think about Baltimore. That was an aberration. They'll be back this year. I'm thinking about Pittsburgh. If Martavius Bryant could have stayed off the weed, okay, then I would have been picking the Steelers to go to the Super Bowl. And then, of course, you have the Cincinnati Bengals. That's who I believe the most interesting division in all of football is. Who do you go with?
Right now, I'm going with Pittsburgh. The key for Pittsburgh is this, the secondary. They've got some young players. Artie Burns and Sean Davis, the strong safety. This is where their Achilles heel is right now. Their pass defense was not very good. They went out and addressed it. Offensively, look, this football team can score points. Okay, and Le'Veon Bell won't be there. Brian's going to miss some games, but still with all that, these guys were averaging, 26 points a game last year. Ben's healthy. Pouncey's back.
Yep.
They get Ladarius Green, the tight end.
Is he an upgrade from Heath Miller?
He can run fast. I don't know if he has Heath Miller's
What about route
hands.
running? What about route running? What about catches?
He can catch the ball okay. He is fast, though. He threatens the middle of your defense, and that's always a concern defensively when you got a tight end that can run right through there. Okay. Now we know what Brown's going to do. He's tremendous, but maybe the best receiver.
Assuming,
yes,
he's fully recovered from that hit from Vontaze Burfict. That was nasty.
Yeah, it was. I think he's going to be fine. I think he has something to prove. It'll be interesting when those two teams clash. Now but that division, you're right. Cincinnati, I was with Marvin up in Tahoe. He likes the football team.
But what about what the most interesting division in all of football is? Is it the AFC North for you, or is it another division?
I'm going to say AFC North is good. Here's a division that might not be very good right now.
Okay.
But 2 years from now, might have maybe some of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Cool.
AFC South. Young quarterbacks. Bortles. Luck. All right.
Oh, come on.
Think about it.
Bortles, Luck, Osweiler.
All right. You hear where I'm going at? And Mariota. Young quarterbacks. Now, Stephen A., we're going to know 2 years from now. We're going to look at it and go, these guys gotten better. Look, Jacksonville's offense is pretty potent now. Did you watch them last year? Them young players?
I watched them a little bit.
Okay. They're pretty good now. Now, they went and drafted 2 defensive players that, maybe the 2 best athletic players on the board when Ramsey and Jack.
Yeah.
Okay, so defensively, they've done some things. Offensively, they're pretty good. Luck's coming back. If they can protect him, we know what he can do. All right. Mariota showed some signs last year. Okay, now Osweiler we have to see. We have to see who he is. But he's in an offense that fits his skill set. So it'll be interesting in that division 2 years from now.
Looking at the West, Mark Sanchez is now the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, or Paxton Lynch, whichever one you pick. But the question is that no matter, is it a huge drop-off from what we saw from Peyton Manning last season for the Denver Broncos? 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, a QBR in the 40s, benched, injured, ultimately came back, managed them to a Super Bowl ride on the coattails of Denver's defense. What do you think about the Denver Broncos, the reigning Super Bowl champions right now?
They got 9 Pro Bowlers coming back. 9 guys started coming back, 5 of them Pro Bowlers. They're still going to be awesome on defense, I think. And we can't lose sight of that because you made the point. 19 touchdown passes, 23 interceptions, this offense. Not very good. And Peyton Manning was a quarterback. Now, we understand Peyton Manning is different. He's a leader and all that kind of stuff. But if they can just play defense like they did last year, I don't know if they can do what they did in the playoffs. They made a heck of a run, when you think about the numbers they put up defensively.
Correct.
But that division, I think Kansas City is better offensively because of the quarterback, Alex Smith. That's kind of funny about Alex Smith. Right. They ran it. All of a sudden, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
They figured it out.
He's all right. He's all right.
He's okay.
He's not going to get it done for you. You need to give him a cushion. You need to make sure you give him something to manage.
Yes.
But he's not the kind of guy that can bring you back from the precipice and all of a sudden, he just he can't do that.
I agree.
That's not who he is.
I agree, but he wins games. They win games. Now, there's that other team over there, up in the East Bay. They took the 2 patches off their eyes. They played with 1 patch again, the Raiders, and they're
coming.
They're coming.
They're coming.
They might be a year away, but they're
Khalil
coming.
Mack is no joke. Derek Carr is impressive. Amari Cooper is a stud. I get it. But I don't see anything else about the Raiders that definitively tells me, oh, my goodness, they're going to get it done for you.
I think they win 10 games.
Raiders?
Right now, 10 games.
The Oakland Raiders are going to win 10 games?
I said it at the end of the year. You look at who they drafted, and you look at the free agency. They get Sean Smith. They get Irvin. They've got some players now.
The Oakland Raiders.
Oakland Raiders.
I'm supposed to believe that the Oakland Raiders are going to get it done.
They got a chance to win 10 games. Yeah.
What about the San Diego Chargers? Phillip Rivers.
First of all, is Bosa ever going to come to camp?
Who?
Bosa.
Well, you know what? Does it matter?
They need him.
Is he needed that desperately?
Yeah, he needed that desperately. Look, offensively, they'll be fine. But defensively, I don't.
Do you feel like he's in the NFL is a business, but does it seem like he's got a lot of nerve to be holding out? I thought he was lucky to be the number 3 overall pick to begin with, personally.
Like you said, it's business.
It's
business.
I
don't understand the business anymore, but it's business.
All right, so you got the Raiders.
Yes.
Dag, I forgot.
Yeah, look at who they got.
Bruce Irvin.
Thank you.
I forgot he showed up there.
Keep looking.
I forgot he was there. Reggie Nelson.
Keep looking.
I forgot. Asamale from Baltimore.
Sean Smith, the corner.
Yes, Sean Smith, the corner from Kansas City. Oh, I forgot about him. I forgot he went to Oakland. I forgot Sean Smith went to Oakland. Damn.
They're going to be okay, partner.
All right.
Got a good offensive line. Got some runners. Got some receivers. Hey.
So what are you trying to say?
I'm not saying that.
So what are you trying to say? You think that Oakland could possibly win the division?
No, they can't win the division. But I think they got a chance to win 10 games. They really do. They really do.
NFC, Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers still a team to beat?
Yeah, I was just down there. Yeah.
You think they're a team to beat? Not Seattle?
No, in their division. I think they win a division.
Right.
See, Seattle Arizona's good too now. That's a good division, AFC West. But Carolina, I tell you what, they're big and physical. Benjamin looked great in practice.
Yeah.
He is big now. I mean, he's big time. He catch football.
I think, having him as an additional weapon for Cam Newton, that's scared.
Yeah.
That's scary. But the flip side to it is that I look at Green Bay, Jordy Nelson back.
Oh, yeah.
I look at Seattle, who showed up in the second half, just didn't show up in the first half of the playoffs against Carolina. They're nothing to sneeze at.
No.
I think the division's going to come down. And not only that, the Dallas
you hate to say it. No, you're right.
I almost want to throw up having to say this, but considering how weak I believe the NFC East has the potential to be, combined with Des Bryant and Tony Romo coming back, having an Alfred Morris, drafting an Ezekiel Elliott. Their defense may be porous, but the Dallas Cowboys could find a way to make things interesting themselves.
It's between them and the Giants.
The Giants? So the Redskins, your playoff team last year, you just disregarding them and think they're going to miss the playoffs?
Right.
Kirk Cousins, $19.9 million franchise tag?
I like what the Giants did on defense. I think they'll be terrific on offense. I do. I mean, they got the kid Shepard. I mean, he's going to be he's a legitimate player now.
Right.
And they were scoring. Look, they scored over 26 points 10 times and lost 5 games.
Yeah.
Okay? So they're going to score points. Defensively, the players they brought in there defensively, they spent $200 million on defense.
You know what bothered me about the New York Giants? First of all, I like Jerry Reese. I truly do. And I root for him. And I was a guy that thought that if you're going to change, you need to change. And if Tom Coughlin's got to go, Tom Coughlin's got to go. But it rubbed me the wrong way that he lost his job, but everybody else stayed. Like, the GM stayed, the assistant coaches stayed, the coordinator gets elevated to the head coach position. If just something was wrong with that picture with me, Coach. I mean, how should I feel about it? I mean, everybody stayed, but I mean, y'all ain't making the playoffs. You're missing, you're underachieving, and everybody stays but Tom Coughlin? I mean, talk about a coach getting thrown under the bus. Is that not the epitome of a coach getting thrown under the bus, where everybody stays but him?
You would have liked it if it was going to end better. There's no doubt. Because Tom Coughlin deserves that, but that's the road they took, and we'll see what happens.
We'll talk to you before the season.
Always good seeing you, my friend.
Always good to see you, Coach.
Thank you.
The great Herm Edwards, Coach Herm Edwards, right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio, 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Dick GM, Mike McCagnon may come over. We're definitely going to have Muhammad Wilkerson. He's coming by. And, of course, you have me. So stick around. It's Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio coming at you.
Pitbull's Global Cup, everything from how
Airs.
Mobile. Making minimum payments?
Weeknights at 6 p.m. East.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.
Past hour. Number 2 back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. My honor and privilege to have my next guest on the line. Good man, doing a good job for the New York Jets. GM Mike McCagnon is right here with yours truly on Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. How are you, sir? How's everything going?
I'm good, Stephen.
It's good to see you. It's been a long off season. You don't look like you've aged a bit from last year. It doesn't seem like the off season has affected you that much. How has this off season been?
Well, my wife may differ on that. She may notice a few more gray hairs, but no, it's been a good off season. It's been a long off season, but we're really excited to get back to work here. So.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, did it get to a point where you found yourself wondering, is he going to be back here, or were you always confident that it would you'd reach a resolution?
No, I think with every negotiation, you have to be prepared that it may not work out. Another team may come in and sign him, or sign the player. But we always were optimistic, and we always felt, and we said this very publicly, we thought, we were very upfront about, we really liked Ryan. We thought Ryan was a very good fit for us, to hopefully continue to do good things here with the Jets. But we also thought we were a very good fit for him. It was just a matter of, sometimes negotiations work out quickly, sometimes they take time. It eventually worked out, and we're very happy with getting him back in training camp before the start of training camp and go forward.
Now that he's here, you got him signed. He can't go nowhere else for this season. He's a New York Jet. Could you give it to us straight? I mean, how important was it for him to be here with this team in camp?
Well, I think, we really, like I said early on, Ryan had a very good season last year with us. And we felt very good about bringing him back, but not to take away from anybody else on our team. There's a lot of other good players we signed this offseason. There's other good players who we had under contract going forward. So Ryan is a very an important part of this team, but there's a lot of other very important parts of this team too. So we feel good about getting him back, and we're happy to get down to work and go forward. It was very important for us, and we did in the negotiation process we felt it was important to get resolved one way or the other before training camp started.
Highlight for me the immediate emotion after losing to the Buffalo Bills in the regular season finale, missing out on an opportunity to get to the playoffs as an executive, not the coach, not the player, but as an executive, looking at this team and thinking about what you needed to make sure you took that extra step for this upcoming season. What did you feel was missing when the season came to an end?
Well, I think, when you go through a season, and maybe at the end, for everybody who doesn't win the Super Bowl, you come up short at some point in time. I think the first thing, everybody's very competitive. So once the not winning aspect of it gets in, gets through your system, it's very, very methodical. You sit back down, you look at what you have from a team standpoint, you look at the resources you have in terms of the salary cap. And really what we've done from day one is tried to put together the most competitive team we can, given the resources we have. Todd had mentioned publicly that and this is something we discussed internally, that we wanted to, we had a very big, physical, powerful team. We felt we can kind of go toe-to-toe with a lot of teams. But we wanted to, augment that with some speed and more athletic ability, which I think we've tried to in the off-season. And we feel good about, what we've done so far. But, you really almost, Stephen, you almost go through the process and you think of, you analyze all the areas you want to improve upon, and you slowly, methodically try to improve upon them.
Mike Mechanic right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Matt Forte being here. I think that's a good move because of his pass catching ability. I'm noticing that him and Bilal Powell are two individuals, widely recognized as individuals that can really catch the football out of the backfield. How much did that factor into their, especially in Matt Forte's place, in terms of him being here, wanting that guy to come out of the backfield? It seems like y'all had some concerns about your passing game at the end of the season.
Well, I think, when you go into the process, and we had Chris Ivory, who was a free agent, who eventually signed with Jacksonville, and we liked Chris quite a bit, and we wanted to try to get Chris back, but we understood the dynamics of the market, how much he was going to potentially cost in the market, and when his price went above a certain point where, as we try to put this whole thing together, we couldn't continue to compete with, we quickly turned to what was more or less the next player we'd also considered was Matt. Now, Matt's a slightly older running back compared to Chris, but he's a very good running back, and he still has a lot of good football left in him, we feel. But the other aspects of Matt, when you watch him, really his ability as a receiver out of the backfield, he's a very well-rounded back, and we felt that was an aspect of our offense which really I think Matt brings to the table from an ability standpoint. Now the coaches will determine how best to utilize him and his skill set, but the other part of it we do when we go into this process, Stephen, is we really analyze we analyze the player from an ability standpoint. We try to analyze the player from an intangible standpoint, and really having had just 1 year under our belt, trying to instill what we believe in the culture and the chemistry of this team's going to be with Todd and the coaching staff. We really like what Matt brings to the table from an intangible standpoint. I mean, he's obviously a veteran. He's definitely a pro's pro in terms of how he handles his business, and I think he's a great impact and influence in our locker room too. So that'll sort of work itself out in time. But it was a combination of both, and we felt very good about it at what where he was, and really for the ability to bring him into this organization.
Often wonder how an executive in your position looks at somebody like that, because when he was in Chicago, they were like, well, he's been here 8 years. It's time to move on. We got somebody else. It was nice, but his time is up. How do you go as an executive from looking at a team in another division, another conference, nevertheless, but looking at a team, say, their time is pretty much up, to you saying that's exactly what we need, exactly who we need in order to help get us over the hump? How does that work out?
Well, from try to give you a little, or your listeners a little insight. So every team is different. Okay, so every team analyzes their own players like we do also, and we analyze our players in free agency, like who's a free agent, what the market is in terms of the other free agents, and we try to value them accordingly. But when we go through this process, like different teams may view things differently based on their salary cap, their systems that they run, offensive or defensively. And quite frankly, sometimes there's a lot of situations you go through the history of the NFL where there's players where one team may decide, hey, listen, we have some younger players, if they felt that way, that we want to give more opportunities to, and we might use that salary cap space to go use in a different area to help the team. So it's nothing necessarily bad how they viewed them. They just, they made their evaluation of it, whereas we looked at it in terms of, what the contract was, or we eventually signed him for, and looked at all his attributes and abilities and intangible aspects that bring to our organization, and from our standpoint, we felt it was a very good fit for us, and ideally, him and like a lot of the other players on our team that we either had or have signed in free agency, we're trying to put the best group of guys together, go out there and compete 16 weeks and see what happens.
How good is this team compared to the team you had last year?
Well, I think everybody always likes to make statements on if you're better or worse. We feel better about our team where we were from a year ago. We felt we lost some good players. There's Damon Harrison for sure. Yeah. Chris Ivory. There's some good players we lost in free agency, and we understood that with the nature of the salary cap. And there's some other players we lost too, which I can't mention everybody, but you do that in this league. You try to there's a bit of attrition, and then you try to restock and retool, and that's what we've done. But really, when you go forward, if you look at our team from a year ago to now, one of our focuses was to increase our team speed, which I mentioned earlier. Now, that does mean we just use that as a sole measurement, but that's something we felt we were a very big physical team, and we could sort of go toe-to-toe with a lot of people. Now, if we can improve the athletic ability and the overall speed of our team, it kind of balances that out. It makes us a little more dangerous, potentially. Mm-hmm. But until we go out and start playing preseason games, like we look, everybody works against themselves in shorts and T-shirts. You have a feel for where you're at, but until we go out there and actually play games, that's when we get a real value of it. And then that, in turn, causes us to figure, okay, now what can we go do to augment or help our team, whether it's trades, waiver wire claims, and free agency and stuff like that.
Perhaps a strange question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Because I'm me. That's how it goes. That's how it goes, sir. I'm wondering, you talk about looking at the season from a very pragmatic perspective. I'm wondering if there's a particular game, for example, of that 16-game schedule over 17 weeks. Was there a particular game where you said, damn, we need to get fast? I mean, we just look slow out there. We got to go out there. We got to get some speed. This guy might be a little bit too old. I tried to keep him on, but we got to move on. Is there a particular game that stood out in your mind when something like that happens? Or do you really look at the whole picture and you just say, look, this is what it was?
I think the answer to your question is no. There was not a particular game. I think when you go through the process, you analyze it. We literally review the whole season. You analyze the whole body of work of the team. But when you're, but again, when you're out there kind of watching yourself play during the season, you're in your mind obviously going, okay, there's things we need to improve upon and do better. I think one of the things last year going into the season, we did some very good things defensively. I think Todd has mentioned publicly that, giving up some big plays, that was a thing that we want to make sure we do a better job with going forward. Offensively, we did a lot of good things. Again, we'd like to keep adding pieces to that to make us more dangerous. And then the special teams last year was an area where, we've actually drafted a punter in the 7th round who's done a very good job. He's our only punter right now in training camp. So we're excited about him. But you look at everything, Stephen, and you try to figure out what areas you can improve upon. And it's like building a house. And you look at your foundation first, and then you just build everything up. And then the season is more or less a storm, and it's really how the house weathers a storm to get to the end of the season, ideally into the playoffs.
When you hear Jet fans talk about how the team hasn't made the playoffs since 2010. Now, obviously, that's not on your watch. Obviously, that's not on Todd Bowles' watch. But nevertheless, it's a history that you obviously adopt because this is the job that you decided to take on. Adds any pressure to you at all? Or does it, I don't want to say it changes your approach because I can't imagine that, but does it add a little bit of urgency to the task at hand when you hear Jet fans talking about how it's been 6 years since we've been in the postseason?
Well, I think you always feel that urgency. I mean, this is a very, very competitive league. But really, what you do is you try to focus on making sure you're making good decisions to put the most competitive team on the field you possibly can. Yes, at the end of the day, we play this game to win football games, but we definitely want to, make the fans proud and happy. Represent the city and the team well. So, going through that process, you feel pressure, but you're always, in my role at least, you're always kind of balancing the short and long term. Like we go into every season, like every other NFL team does, we want to go to the playoffs, and once we get to the playoffs, who knows what can happen. And that's, really trying to put together the best team we can possibly put together based on the resources we have. And you feel pressure, but a lot of it's just, you don't necessarily skew your decisions on the pressure. It's motivation to maybe go the extra mile, possibly.
Do you find yourself, last question, do you find yourself just a tad bit worried from this perspective? You went 10-6, still didn't make the playoffs. This year, you probably could go 10-6 or even 11-5, and then there's Pittsburgh and Baltimore and Cincinnati and the Broncos and the Raiders are coming up the rear, and somebody's got to win the South, okay? Yeah. And then, of course, there's the Patriots in the East. Do you find yourself saying, good Lord, this year is going to be hell?
The thing I would take what I would say simply is every year in the NFL it's like that, and and sometimes I always think, okay, as you may look at it that way and say, okay, we have the strength of schedule and all that stuff. I look at it this way. Hey, the other teams looking at us are probably thinking, oh, that's going to be a tough game against the Jets. The Jets had, a top 5 defense. They had a top 10 offense. Now again, we have to go out there and recreate that or even improve upon that. So I like to think it goes both ways a little bit. You do look at the schedule, but you know what? We just take it 1 week at a time. That's Todd's and his staff's mentality, which I really like. And we'll figure out some way to hopefully come out the winning end every week.
We got you. All the best to you, Mike McCagnon, GM for the New York Jets, right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. He's doing a hell of a job. It ain't his fault they didn't make the playoffs. 10-6, one bad day against the Buffalo Bills. I don't think that'll happen this time around. I believe in the New York Jets this year. I'm going to believe in them, okay? Because there's a lot of teams in the AFC I don't believe in. Appreciate you as always, man. All the best to you. I'm going to promise my man Bruce I'm going to get to a couple of games this year. He's treated. He's treated.
Hey, if you do, we'll take care of it.
Definitely. Y'all always do. Y'all always do. I'll be there. I promise. Good to see you, mother. Good to see my man. Good to see you.
All right. Thank you, Stephen.
Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Back with more of your calls. And Muhammad Wilkerson in a minute. Stephen A. Mad Dog Stop.
Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Training camps continued around the country.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. It's my honor and privilege to have my next guest on the line. I'm happy for this brother right here. He got his money. I am all about dudes getting paid, ladies and gentlemen, so long as they deserve it and ain't scrubs. And that's certainly not him. I'm talking about the man himself, defensive tackle for the New York Jets, the one and only Muhammad Wilkinson, right here with yours truly. What's going on, Big Time? How are you?
Chilling, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. How's it feel, man? How's it feel to be paid in the National Football League and taken care of?
That feels good, man. To be part of this great organization, being here from New Jersey, man, I'm glad to be here for another 5 years, definitely.
Were you, at any point, were you scared or nervous that you weren't going to end up here, that you guys weren't going to reach an accord on the contract extension?
No, I knew that with my agent and the business people I had, I knew we would come together and, find an agreement, and, we got it done, so I'm definitely happy.
When you talk about being excited to be here for years and years to come, for Jet fans out there, tell them why you feel that way.
I think just from what we brought in this year and the talent that we have and just moving forward, what this organization is going to be doing moving forward, the great coaches that we have here, it's just everything positive. I'm thinking positive, and it's only going to get better from here. When we sit here and look at the New York Jets, they ain't made the playoffs since 2010, Muhammad. Ain't your fault. Ain't your fault. Trust me, I know that. It's not your fault, but damn it, you guys haven't made the playoffs since 2010. When you hear that reality, that fact, particularly coming off of last year, as you sit here today, why did y'all not make the playoffs last year if you had to pinpoint something? I can definitely say just some games that we came out flat, and didn't take the opponent, seriously. And that's something that we know after that game, once we lost, we knew why we lost. And 10-6, as you can see, some teams get in, but we didn't get in that 10-6, so that's not good enough for us. Educate me on this, because I'm critical of players in this regard. Football, boxing, UFC, sports that are very physical, very violent, where people can really, really get hurt. How do y'all not take an opponent seriously enough? When one play can end a season, if not a career, how does that happen? Sometimes you can just get caught up in, just the media and about teams, slacking. A team might be, on a 5-game losing string. You think, okay, well, we don't won 4 games in a row. We're gonna beat them too. They're gonna come in and like slouches, and they're not gonna play us seriously. But you got to take every game, every game seriously. And moving forward, like I said, we learned from that last year, and definitely Todd have told us that we got to take everybody seriously, and we know we have to. And it's definitely just a different feel. This from the first night of meetings that we had, with Todd at the team meeting, we know that this team is definitely different. The mindset is different, and we learned from everything that happened last year. Muhammad Wilkinson, star for the New York Jets, right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Speaking to Todd throughout the offseason, Coach Todd Bowles, he said something that was a little bit different than what you said. He said there were times last year he think it took y'all a while to realize how good y'all truly were. Why would he say that? I think because you got times, you come out and you're not really, you may be flat, or you're not, somebody not getting the ball, or somebody they feel like they're not getting enough tackles or something like that. But we just have to play together. That's what it is. We have to play together. Too many times where, guys, we wasn't on the same page, and that's something that, caused us to lose games, as you can see. So we got to make sure that we always on page and we coming out fast.
I'm going to ask this question, and it's dicey, but I'm not trying to get into any details. I just want a perspective. When your former player who went to the Bulls hit Geno Smith in the face, what kind of distraction was that to this team last year? IK, when he hit him. Was that a distraction at all? Or were y'all all right?
We were fine.
Okay.
We were fine.
That's right. I'm good. I'm good enough. That's all. I understand. I wasn't trying to go any further than that. I'm not trying to rehash old wounds, but I wanted to know that because of what the coach was talking about, because of what you ultimately was talking about. But we're talking to Muhammad Wilkerson right here with Stephen A. on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. So now that that's out the way, and we look forward to this season, what should we expect from the New York Jets, and why?
A talented team that's going to come out fast. We have a lot of young talent. And
Matt Forte's not young.
Forte, by age he's not young. Age is not young,
right.
But he's definitely still out there moving, as if he's a younger guy. He's still got the legs and, to run the ball. So we got a lot of young guys who are talented, and we got the right pieces here to put everything together and be better than 10-6.
You were top 5 against the pass, top 5 against the rush, 9th overall in points allowed. Seems like y'all feel even more confident in this defense than you were last year. I'm wondering why. They got you back. Sheldon Rich is going to be there. Leonard Williams, I like him. He's going to be there. But Antonio Cromartie's not in your secondary anymore. Darrell Reeves is getting a year older. Buster Screen is going from the slot to the outside. Why are y'all so confident defensively now compared to what you were last year? Talk to me about that.
Because, like I said, it was at times we wasn't on the same page, but just by this OTAs, this offseason, and right now in camp, these first couple of days, everybody's been on the same page. Everybody's communicating. It's just a totally different team.
How much time does the defense spend with each other outside of OTAs? I mean, you hang out. I mean, did you hang out in the offseason? Did you go fishing together? Did y'all go chill together? I mean, what's the relationship like outside of OTAs with the team?
Outside of OTAs, I mean, you got a couple of guys who hang out. Everybody communicate, of course, nowadays through text and everything like that, social media. But, it's a collective group. It's a great group of brothers on this defense, definitely.
All right, so the defense is there. How are you feeling about the offense? You go against them in practice for the most part. Brandon Marshall, I can't take him seriously. I just can't take him seriously. If you are a quarterback and Brandon Marshall is your receiver, you could be some scrub, and he's treating you like Tom Brady. The sun shines and sets with you with this guy. He has no credibility, Muhammad. I can't take him seriously. So you tell me, I'll trust your opinion about the Jets offense more than I'll trust his. Talk to me about what this offense is going to look like for you based on the offense you go against in practice.
The offense is going to be great. We got, the quarterback, we got receivers, we got a great group of guys on the offensive line. The offense is going to be set.
Were you nervous when Ryan Fitzpatrick was talking about possibly not being, or they were talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick possibly not being in camp because of the contract dispute? Were you nervous?
No, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't nervous.
Why not? Why not? You believe? Why not? Why not, Muhammad?
Because this business, it's the next man up. We all, everybody's always ready. The next man is ready.
Muhammad Wilkerson right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. I'm looking at you like that because I don't believe that. I don't believe that for 1 second that you wasn't nervous that Ryan Fitzpatrick wasn't going to be here, man. But I do like what I'm seeing. I think the pickup for Matt Forte is going to do wonders for y'all because I think his experience and he just knows how to play the game of football. I think that's going to help y'all. How has he looked?
He's looking good. He's come. He had to tweak the little hammy a little bit, but he's in there rehabbing, and every day he's going to be out there, pretty soon. But he's looking good.
You've been here since 2011. Obviously, you're an elite player for the New York Jets. What was it like for you to lose twice last year to Rex Ryan? What was that like?
It was tough, man. It was definitely tough. Not just because it was Rex, but just losing. I hate losing, period. No matter. It don't matter if the Bills or whoever. I hate losing. But just losing both of those games definitely hurt. Even after, even especially the last one. We win, we was in. But I wound up breaking my ankle and everything like that. So it was definitely tough.
How is the ankle, by the way?
Ankle's good. Rehabbing each and every day. With the strength coaches and with the trainers that we have here, who I feel is top notch. It's getting better.
Let's transition to other teams within the AFC. Tom Brady Brady is going to be gone for the first 4 games due to the suspension with the Deflategate and beyond. First of all, your thoughts about that whole ordeal in general, the fact that it was in the news for so long.
I have nothing to say about that, my man.
I got you. New England Patriots without Tom Brady, first 4 games, puts you guys in an advantage to catch them a little bit because without Tom Brady, nobody expects them to beat the New England Patriots over those first 4 games. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm pretty sure those first 4 opponents, they want to play against Tom Brady, I'm sure.
I doubt they want to play against Tom Brady now, Muhammad. I doubt they want to play against him. Talk to me about Buffalo, because a lot of people look at the New England Patriots, and obviously you think they're the team to beat in the AFC East, but you look at you guys and Buffalo and Miami, is on the come up. The team in the AFC East to watch out for is who, in your mind?
The New York Jets.
Okay. So, what are you trying to say? You think y'all got a shot to win the AFC East and take that from the New England Patriots for a change?
The New York Jets. This is a new, improved New York Jets this year.
All right. Any predictions that you'd like to make, Muhammad Wilkerson?
No predictions, but this is going to be a great year for the New York Jets.
You can't see y'all missing the playoffs this year, right? Is that fair to say? You can't even see that, right?
New York Jets will be in the postseason.
My man, Muhammad Wilkerson for the New York Jets. Appreciate you, big boy. All the best. Stay healthy, all right?
Thank you. Appreciate
Stay
it.
healthy. All the best to you. The great Muhammad Wilkerson. I'm glad this man got his money. He deserves it. He performs at a high level, handles his business. None but love for him. Muhammad Wilkerson right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. It's 888-623-3646. Stephen A. Back with more in a minute.
It's Sign On Sports with Andrew Miller.
Security and storage for DPF. Making minimum patients that don't share ice.
We do?
Whatever.
Minutes past hour number 2, back in the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Thanks again to Muhammad Wilkerson, GM Mike McCagnon, Coach Herm Edwards, and of course Coach Todd Bowles, former and present coaches of the New York Jets, coming on the show to talk to us. Let's go back to the phone, 888 Mad Dog 6. Only got a few minutes before we get on out of here. 888-623-3646. Let's go to Tony in California. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up, Tony? How are you?
Well, Stephen A., what's up, man? How's everything going?
I'm good. Talk to me.
Great. Hey, listen, man, I just wanted to commend you because I believe that you have turned a new leaf in your heart and your mind towards my Dallas Cowboys.
You must be crazy. You must be crazy.
Man, I heard you tell Herman Edwards that we might have a shot.
I got to give credit where credit is due, my man. Listen, I'm one of those people that just because I'm accepting reality doesn't change how I feel about you. If I don't like you, I don't like you. That doesn't mean I'm not going to say. That doesn't mean I'm going to lie and act like you're not a contender. If you are, I'm going to give it to you.
That's what's up. See, this is the thing about it. Last year, everything you said that would happen did happen, and that season was woeful. Man, you gave us some hope today now. I'm telling you, all the Cowboys Nation fans are glad to hear what they heard from you today, man.
Well, listen, let me tell you something. You should find yourself in a position where y'all are, are competing for the champ. You should win the East. The NFC East, to be quite honest with you. You just should. But we'll see what happens. I appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much. Who's my next caller, Nuno? John in North Carolina, you're live with Stephen A. What's going on?
What's up, Steve? It's been hard to get through to you, but I hadn't had a chance to welcome you back from vacation, man. But listen, I ain't going to take up no time because what I want to talk about can wait. But I just want to know, when the hell is Brick going to be back, man?
I don't know the day yet, but I already went to L.A. last week and filmed the show. I just don't know the day. I don't know the day that it's going to air.
That's what's up, man. Well, congratulations on getting another spot, man. You did good the first time. I'll be looking for it.
Well, you got to remember, it's a recurring role, so I'm permanent. I'm there.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, I heard you telling Denzel's son that you had your SAG card. So I said, Stephen A. is in this for the long haul. He got his SAG card.
I got to do a little something, man. Listen, man, I love it. I've been watching General Hospital for 40 years, man. I love it.
I understand.
I absolutely love it. I'm having a ball. I can't wait, man. I appreciate the call. Thanks so much, bro. We'll talk tomorrow. Who else I got, Nuno? Alan in D.C., you're live with Stephen A. Real quick. Go ahead, Alan.
Stephen A., Miami Dolphins going to make the playoffs this year. They have the best offensive line right now in the East. They're the most consistent. They'll make the least mistakes.
Stop all of that right now. Stop all of that right now. How do you feel about Ryan Tannehill?
Ryan Tannehill?
Ryan Tannehill, give that to
mistakes. I think he's growing, but I think as long as he keeps the turnovers at a minimum, then it'll be all right. You just need to make the
as long as he keeps the turnovers at a minimum. That's the best endorsement that you could give me for Ryan Tannehill. As long as he can keep down the turnovers.
Hey, that's the best endorsement for all the QBs.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Because playing mistake-free football is the first step to becoming a great team. And once you start playing mistake-free football, then you can start adding on things.
The Miami Dolphins dropped from 14th to 26th in yards and 11th to 27th in points.
I understand that.
Okay. So don't call up here with your chest sticking out, acting like you know for sure that the Miami Dolphins are going to be relevant. What you need to be saying is that you hope and pray, not that you know. Am I lying?
Well, yeah, you're not lying, but I think they have better chances this year.
Okay, I hear you talking. I mean, I don't see anything. I mean, all I see, you got Mario Williams. Maybe he'll want to play on defense for you instead of stealing money from Buffalo like he was last year, even though Rex Ryan's hybrid defense has something to do with that. You got Byron Maxwell from Philadelphia. Don't get me started with him. Man, I got to go. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to end this show on a nice note. All right? I'll holler at y'all 22 hours from now. Peace and love. Mad Dog Russo up next.